I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real.
He is terrible!
You gotta know how many wieners are going down these big strokes.
I'm gonna go quick because I don't give a fuck about anything that's gonna happen on Saturday.
Hello, boys! We are back with another edition of the MMA Analysis podcast. It wasn't a week without controversy. The hate just keeps on hating. Jon Jones at the center of it all, as he normally is. There may be no one hated more in combat sports than this man, and I love it. Wes is not here this week. I think it's basically like the start of like Southern hunting season, aka stock car racing. So he's apparently that's more important than anything. He couldn't make this week's episode.
That's what he told us. Really, he didn't want to take the tongue lashing that Lance was going to give out for us being morons and betting against the Black Beast, and because all he does is win. Right, Lance?
All he does is win, and also third straight show.
It's a streak.
Look out!
3 is a streak.
Does that
Dude
mean
is
I'm back?
committed.
3 is a streak.
Jay, when do I take the hosting duties back at this point?
I know. I was gonna ask. Is he back in the zone? Is he feeling frisky? Can he run? Can he steer this ship?
I'm a professional talker in my real life.
Ugh, you can have it. Fuck that.
Yeah, but Wes doesn't join up my third straight show. I mean, I'm now a more active member of the podcast than Wes, I think, right?
I guess certainly in February you are.
Talk to me when we're breaking down a fucking UFC China card and shit like that in the middle of May.
I don't think there's going to be any China cards this year.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, they're all dead. They're all dead.
There's no one to attend the events.
R.I.P. China, for sure. Yeah, man, there's a lot of controversy, but and I understand. Like, I think any close decision is going to be controversial, especially in that realm with how big of a fight it is. But at the same time, for those crying robbery, give me a break. I mean, if you just watch that, like, let's say you didn't watch the fight except for the third round. Let's say you only watched that third round. That was the only 5 minutes of the fight you saw. How do you watch that round and then say it's one of the biggest robberies you've had and it was fixed and John got his ass kicked if you just watch that third round? Because that's really how you need to score this fight. The first 4 clear rounds, and then there was one round that was relatively close. And for the people that like to look at significant strikes, stop looking.
No.
Like they score a haymaker as much as like touching a dude in the chest. Don't look at significant strikes. Watch that third round. Watch the second half of that third round and tell me Jon Jones won by robbery.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. Of course, people are gonna lose their shit because it's Jon Jones that coulda, shoulda, lost. So of course they're banging the robbery drum. But like you said, 4 and 5, a blind person could see that was a Jones. Those were Jones rounds. Number 1. Number 2 was even a somewhat close round, and then 3 is the toss-up. I mean, I scored it for Dominick Reyes, but I mean that's what a 60-40. 60 times you give it to Reyes, 40 you give it to Jones, something like that. Like, it's nothing. He didn't knock down Jones or do anything and then not get the round scored for him. It was close. I mean, that's the only way to put it, man. It was a close fight, and people were talking about Texas this and Texas this. Texas sucked. They made a lot of bad calls. And I think that's what escalated it, right? Because of all the shit show that happened in the undercard. And then, of course, it's a close fight that the GOAT could have lost, and then people lose their minds.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I do think the one thing you can think of is the last few fights, John's human. Jon is John is now transformed into a human being. I will say that regardless.
Well, he doesn't have the power anymore.
It's it's not even just the power.
It's the wrestling.
It's just the wrestling is not there. The offense, the variety of offense. He doesn't throw flying knees and can't take people down. It's his defense is still solid as hell, as you could see against Reyes. Reyes was throwing all kinds of wild shit, and John's basically missing or making him miss all of it. But his offense is just not there. He doesn't put stamps on anything. Can't take a guy down that. I mean, you can say his takedown defense improved, but in prime John Jones gets that dude down easy.
Yeah,
easy.
And that's the thing. Like, at first, it was John's game plan is bad, right? Like, we kept saying that his game plan's bad. Why is he not wrestling? We said it in the Santos fight, and then this fight, he went to his wrestling, and it looks like he hadn't trained wrestling. Like, he wasn't getting deep into shots. He wasn't trying to work the upper body.
It seems like he was grabbing. He was grabbing him behind the waist to like above his back, like above the waist to try to take him down. I was like, what are you doing? Just like dive deep, just go deep in, like by the knees and just power throw. I don't understand. I didn't understand that.
It was shocking. And maybe it's one of those things that, we always talk about wrestlers fall in love with their hands, and maybe it's a little bit, John has been working so much more on striking as boxing, because like he's been boxing guys, and maybe he just hasn't worked on his wrestling. And, wrestling is not like riding a bike. Like, you need to drill.
That shit.
You have to drill wrestling. You're putting your body in different positions and, using your different leverage. And if you're not drilling that all the time, you're not going to get guys down. And I think, I don't think it's just John getting old. I also think the weight class is catching up to him, where, during his run, he was facing a lot of guys towards the end of his, the end of their career. And now he's facing big, young, athletic guys. And I think he's not able to just out-athlete people anymore.
And that's what it is. He was facing older guys past their athletic primes and was able to use his own athletic advantage in those fights. And now he's kind of degrading. And like you said, the other guys in their athletics are able to just do things and not get taken down or pop right back up. And another thing could be the tape on John is out there. There's a shit ton of, he mostly goes to decision, so there's a ton of tape out there to watch and see kind of his tendencies. A good game planner could kind of figure out some better ways to do things and ways to get up when he gets you down. There's certain ways that wrestlers can do that kind of stuff, and I think that's kind of what it is. He's definitely beatable, as we've seen in the last two of the last three fights almost.
And I do think too, it's I think Sean, you had mentioned it in terms of he's not as creative anymore, and I think something that set up his wrestling really well, because no matter how good of a wrestler you are in MMA, you have to set up your takedowns. You can't just sprint across the octagon and take a guy down. It's not like wrestling. And I think without his creativity, like the flying knees, the spinning elbows, the wild shit, he also doesn't seem to, like, when he's in the clinch now, he's not the old John when he's in the clinch. Remember the old John would throw all these crazy fucking weird knees and elbows and
cranks on some. Remember when he cranked on Glover's arm? Just do weird shit that nobody had ever seen before.
He doesn't do that anymore. He's almost turned into just a straight kickboxer. And I think what made John so different and so great when he first came up is it was one of those things like, holy shit, I've never seen someone fight like this. And now it's like John's a kickboxer.
It's a bit sad, but
maybe John should just retire with like the unblemished thing. That's what I would do.
He loves these close fights, man. He loves it.
He looked fucking good in the fourth and fifth. That cardio is still there. Like he just has so much. He has so much. Like he's just been in there so many times. He's able to pace himself, and like obviously if this went a couple more rounds, this would be a completely different story. It's a 5-round fight. But yeah, he was fresh in there.
Yeah.
It's just the younger, probably more athletic fighter came out hot and was able to put him on it for a couple rounds.
So I guess we could probably talk about John forever. Who do you guys think he fights next?
I put money on him versus Reyes because it was a stupid number that BetOnline put out, but unfortunately I could only put $50 on it. I think it was like plus 350
on who he fights next.
Yeah,
I don't think he fights him next.
He's not. You think he's gonna fight whoever wins this weekend?
No. I don't, well, actually,
so who is he gonna fight
maybe.
then?
I mean, maybe.
No.
He's mentioned a couple things about Corey Anderson. Like he said, like Corey Anderson has earned it, and I think John is a bit about that. Like John's never been the champion to call out guys who haven't like earned it or just top of the heap. He fights guys he thinks are like deserving, and he's mentioned Corey Anderson. If Corey Anderson comes out and knocks out Jan, I think that happens. But
so what happens if he wins a fairly pedestrian decision? You think he still fights him?
I know what I want, and you know what I want. I know what everyone wants. Why not?
It's not going to happen.
Why aren't we doing this?
I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't.
He's 230 right now.
I know, he's slimming down.
That's fucking Anthony Rumble Johnson. Tell me that John in the first round doesn't get fucking cleaned out by Anthony Rumble Johnson.
Rumble hasn't fought in a while, and I feel like he would overextend and John would take him down. That's what I think.
Does this John do that? Or does John try to do some head movement and move? When John gets hit now, he doesn't shoot. He just moves his fucking head around. And if Rumble's smart, he does overextend. Rumble goes, I got 2 minutes. Let's do this shit.
I would like to see that. I just don't know if it's realistic. I think he should move up and fight heavyweight if he's not going to give Reyes a rematch.
I don't want to see that now after this last fight. I don't know. Like that fight changed everything for me.
So you kind of want to see the rematch?
I don't immediately. I'm
fine with it though.
I'm never a fan of immediate rematches, no matter how close it is, no matter the situation. I just don't like immediate rematches unless it's something just a complete robbery.
I agree, except in divisions that there's not much going on.
Anthony, Rumble, Johnson.
Oh my god.
We don't even know. It's fair. Okay, I'll give it to you.
Can make 300 pounds.
If he's gonna fight, I'm down. But I don't know if that's a possibility. So my choice would be him fight Stipe, and then if that doesn't happen, he does the rematch with Reyes. Because I mean, at this point, do we have a bunch of Bones fights left?
I don't know. I will say this: John went on probably a 5-year run outside of the Cormier fights where I just didn't get excited. I just stopped getting excited. Like before the Santos fights, I wasn't excited. The Smith fight, the Gustafsson rematch, OSP, Glover. I wasn't excited. I'll say this: no matter who John fights next, I think I'm going to be excited.
That's because he's beatable now. It's kind of like the Fedor thing when he finally got beat or it was in close fights, then the aura's gone and people have a chance, you know?
Yeah, it's exciting. It really is. Like it's exciting. Like if it's Reyes next, that's gonna do big numbers. If it's fucking Anthony Rumble Johnson, if it's Stipe, but man, I just want to see if John can take. I've wanted it since. The whole time,
everybody's wanted it. It just never fucking added up. Or Jones was doing stupid shit while Rumble was at the top. It's kind of unfortunate because that was the big fight to make, and we just never got it.
Yeah, we got it. We have to see them fight eventually, and there's really not much time left.
Nope, that's correct.
Has Rumble officially said that he's coming back?
Yeah, he did like 3 or 4 months ago, and he's been cutting weight.
Well,
it's just weird. Like it's just weird they haven't said anything. Maybe the hope is it's the Jones fight and they just haven't announced it.
Well, the UFC wouldn't say anything until it's done. But I mean, Rumble cut down from supposedly 300 pounds to
Well, did you see him? He was fucking 300 pounds.
Might have been 320.
He's 230.
I'll believe it when I see it.
You don't want to give him a warm up fight against any kind of can at 205?
Don't get me wrong. Anthony Rumble Johnson versus a can is some of the best TV ever. Like, even non-can. If you're not in the top 3 of the division, Anthony Rumble Johnson versus you. I mean, since 2012, Rumble has lost to Daniel Cormier. That's it. That's wild.
Oh, remember when he
Look at
lifted up
Lance
and
throwing out
decapitated
stats.
Little Nog?
This is something different.
I know.
Yeah, I'm a new man. I'm big time new man. Yeah, the Little Nog fight was my favorite Rumble fight because I thought Little Nog died.
So did I.
His head was in the fucking
might
fifth
have.
row.
He might have died.
When I show people MMA videos, I usually start with the Nate Marquardt over Tyron Woodley knockout
The
in
finish,
Strike
yeah.
Force. And then next I go straight to Big Nog's head flying off his body. And then a 10-minute Do Bronx package.
Best of.
Remember when my man Bader tried to like crawl away from Rumble as he was hitting him in the face?
I thought that was going to be a highlight package, but it might just bring up too many bad memories.
That was the most embarrassing loss in MMA history.
I saw
That was
fight.
just
I was
mean.
there live. It was at the Prudential Center, and I was like, oh. It was a 58-second fight.
It seemed like Bader was like the bell rung and Bader like looked across the cage and was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck have I done?
He just shit himself.
How do I get out of this? Somebody help me!" Oh god. So what else on this card besides Derek Lewis versus a non-top 5 guy and winning a fight in the 3rd round because he's a cardio machine?
He was a minute away from losing a fight that Latifi landed 4 punches
really
on.
Going there.
But
I
Sean,
am. Look at the scorecards.
especially because Wes is not here, and you won't argue as much. You'd be a little more reasonable than my friend.
Well,
Wes.
I'm not a Black Beast hater either. I've
But
bet on him.
regardless,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Let's go.
Hate or not, at this point, is it lucky that Derek Lewis wins every 3rd round he has ever fought?
The answer is no.
He looked
It's his
better.
thing. He always looks like that.
Yeah,
He
no, but he I don't know. He's fixed his cardio because
It is better.
He looked good. Like he was in better shape. This is like the smallest he's been in a really long time at the weigh-ins. And in that 3rd round, after Latifi laying on his ass for the whole 2nd round, he still was fighting off takedowns for a lot of the 3rd round. He had plenty of gas to go and fucking wing a lot of shit and throw flying knees.
Why does Derek Lewis fight so much like Travis Brown now?
Does he?
Yes, like all these kicks, like he's looking like agile.
Because fucking it works for a heavyweight. Nobody
He's the
expects that
man.
shit.
He's the fucking man, and it's like has 2 things. Like one, has Derek Lewis ever won a 2nd round? He takes a 2nd round off every fight, I think. I don't know if I've ever seen him win a 2nd round.
Seems that way.
I think he might have against Marcin Tibur. That's about it.
And then the 3rd round, it's like those racing games that we played when we were kids. And then there was like a quarter of lap left on the last lap, and you hit that nitro button, and you just fucking charge ahead. That's fucking Derek Lewis. Like when there was like a minute left, it was like the most cardio he's ever had in his life, and he's done that so many times. And I think the second he like senses a little bit of, the guy gets a little bit hurt, it's like he's not tired anymore. And it's truly amazing for a guy that is not the most athletic human ever, that doesn't seem to take his dietary restrictions very well, and everything else he's done. The guy just has some crazy last gear that he can turn on in the 3rd round.
Were you a little bit worried at your minus 250 at all?
No, it's Derek Lewis.
Even with a minute left,
No.
when TV was holding on to him?
No.
You were
I
going to
wasn't
lose. You know that, right? If he doesn't get up and do some shit, right?
But he always gets up.
I know
and
he
does
always
shit.
does, but you're fucking relying on that guy to come back with a minute left in the fight to steal that round. I mean, it's fair
Every
enough.
time.
I mean, I had like plus 240. I mean, I'm cool with that. I almost won. It is what it is. I had 1 unit on it.
You know what
It's
Lance is
fine.
going to tell you now.
I know there's no value in a losing bet, but I don't
There's
give a
no
shit.
value in a losing bet. I was just looking. I think he's won fights by either clinching the deciding 3rd round or finishing a guy in the 3rd round 8 times now in his UFC career. That's not luck. That's a guy who knows how to win.
That's heavyweights, yes. That's heavyweight, and
He might
not,
be a top
not
5
being a
cardio.
plus.
So annoyed about it.
He might be a top 5 cardio machine at heavyweight at this point. I mean, how many guys are better in the 3rd round than Derek Lewis versus competition? Brian Ortega? Who else?
Brian Ortega.
Ortega. And the
Yeah,
Black
him.
Beast.
YOLO,
YOLO,
yeah,
third round
YOLO.
YOLO.
and Black Beast. That's
Third round YOLO. Now, I did see Curtis Blades calling out Derek Lewis, and that will not be a fight I will be backing.
there we go.
Like I said, it's the easy little thing. Is the guy top 5? Yes. Bet against Derek Lewis. Is he not top 5? No. All right, bet on Derek Lewis. It's easy.
Yep. Fair enough. It was close. I'm still happy with my bet, even though you know the deal.
Yeah, there's no value in losing.
I
Let's
did
run
win my.
through-
I did my
yes.
nice easy Shevchenko win. That was fucking easy. That chick should have
Yeah,
been minus 10,000.
Yes,
I don't
that's what we
think
said. That's what we said last week.
I don't think we need to talk about that fight.
No, that's as
Let's
much as we
start
need
at
to
the.
talk.
Let's go through the preliminary card to start. We had Youssef Zalal beat something called Austin Lingo by decision. No one cared.
cares? Yeah,
Andre
let's just-
Ewell, I guess, won a split decision where Jonathan Martinez that he probably shouldn't have won.
That was a bad one.
That's a winner for Lance. Keep going.
Mr.
Yeah, no
Mr.
surprise.
Mr. should have been gone. Journey Newsom. TKO Domingo Pilarte. That was pretty good.
Yeah,
Like-
the Chicklets was on Pilarte, so you know that's why that guy
And-
got smoked
Yeah.
in 40 seconds.
And now they're going to go their separate ways because Pilarte is going to be cut.
That's right. That's perfect. Yeah,
I had to sneak one more journey in there before.
that's
you
fine. Yeah.
She
Mario.
took a midnight train go. I'm sorry.
That's right. Mario Bautista defeated previously undefeated Miles Johns by a pretty vicious TKO, then punches on the ground.
That hurt.
Everybody's favorite ghost, Alex Morano, KO'd by something called Chaos. Williams. And the women's fight was a rough decision loss. I don't know how they could. This is oh man, this is bad. Lauren Murphy getting the decision win is not good.
Blame Chicklets again. He had fucking Lee by decision, who ruined my also bet on Lee by decision.
And then James Krause basically fighting up 2 weight classes essentially. Oh, probably was better than Trevin Giles.
He was.
He was better. The cardio gave out because he hadn't trained.
I was stunned how bad Trevin Giles was, like in comparison. That's bad. You can't beat a guy who's literally fighting up a full pound, a full weight class, maybe a weight class and a half. Pretty sad.
Maybe
we
he
talked
did beat him.
about what's up.
You said never mind.
Yeah. We talked about Derek Lewis. He keeps finding ways to win.
Booyah.
Fight that we talked a lot about was a consensus bet because Lance's consensus doesn't count. Dan Ige beating Mirsad Bektic by decision. They said this was a split. I don't know how they figured that out, but okay. This one fight was a pretty good one. Is Lance finally going to give Dan Ige his due?
I don't know who that is.
Okay then, I guess not.
He's what's his name? Fucking Ali's personal
Who?
assistant.
Fluffer.
Oh, what? Yeah,
Oh,
Fluffer. You know your
Khabib's coach?
Yeah, well, not coach, his agent.
Well, the guy that beat him in a race the other day or some
Oh,
nonsense.
fuck.
I will say that's two pretty pretty back-to-back wins because Kevin Aguilar is damn good.
Yeah,
He's tough as hell too.
Yeah, he is. He's a
legitimate fighter.
I mean, I thought Bektic, I thought he looked okay. I didn't think he looked bad. His chin held up. His cardio didn't completely destroy him. He made it a close third round at the end. I thought it was a great fight. I really enjoyed that fight.
This guy should be in the top 5 of the weight class, though, Lance. Bektic had
Who?
That's pushing it.
his ability. With his ability,
Bektic.
yeah.
Yeah, all he needs to add is cardio and a chin, and he'd be top 5. But unfortunately, that's not the case.
He's got to set up his takedowns a little bit better versus guys who have any idea of wrestling, too.
well, he used to be able to, but now
He used to, but now he's worried about getting smoked in the face and dropped with a jab.
but
So now
he used to before he was fighting ranked guys. It's
Yeah.
easy to take guys down when they don't know what they're doing. And I think that's the biggest thing. I think sometimes people think like guys are abandoning the wrestling or doing this. I think it's also as you move up and you face better guys, you're facing Josh Emmett, Dan Ige, even, Ricardo Lamas. Those guys are a little bit better at wrestling. So it's not as easy to take down a fucking, look at those horrible dudes he beat earlier in his career.
ragdolled. Yeah.
Yeah, Paul Redmond, Russell Doan, Lucas
Paul
Martins,
Redmond. Wow.
Godofredo Pepe. Is he alive still, you think? God, he was awesome.
Tony
Pretty sure
Pudding.
he's suspended. I think he got
Yeah.
USADa'd.
Yeah, that probably makes sense.
And then there was another heavyweight bout. Justin Taffa taking out Juan Adams. Adams looks like he's a complete mook too.
We touched on last week. Remember when Juan Adams was just talking all that shit about
Yes.
Greg Hardy, and 2 fights later he is cut?
Is he cut? If he's not, he's
Yeah,
gonna
he got
be.
cut.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he got
he
cut.
was-
I didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
Yeah,
Hope-
He
Talking
looks
all that shit.
he looks the
Okay.
part, but once he gets in the cage, it doesn't work.
It sucks.
And then of course Shevchenko looking like a
the
savage.
Mook again.
Mook
The
again. Mook again never had a shot. I mean, come
Not
on.
a chance in hell.
Oh, this is so funny, so bad. This weight class will literally go nowhere. Period. I mean, yeah. There's one fighter, and that's all that matters. That's that. Wow. So I'm looking at it. Fight of the night was Trevin Giles and Kraus, and then the
That was a good fight.
night went to Chaos Williams and Bautista.
Hey, give the broke ass fighters 50
Yeah.
grand. Nothing wrong with that.
I thought the Bektic fight was a better fight, but I understand
Was.
giving 50 G's to Kraus makes sense.
Kraus
Yep.
a good guy. He's a legit fighter and a coach too. One of the smarter guys in MMA.
Supposedly, for him to take that fight, he got the UFC to give him a brand new deal with a bunch more money. So that's a smart dude right there.
I don't know why they needed the fight so badly on the card. Like, what was the big deal?
Did you see this card, Jay?
Who cares? It was on the undercard.
Well, I think
Eh.
it was more that Trevin Giles, he's from there, wanted to get him a fight. Kraus said he'd do it.
Maybe because it was already the headliner of the TV card, so they didn't want to have to change their promotional nonsense.
And really,
I
do
don't
you
know.
think 10 to 20 more grand per fight for Kraus is
No.
that big a deal for the UFC?
No.
So fuck, why not?
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
Plus, he has more value just by coaching and bringing guys into the organization. So there's that. Well, I have to say that this week's card is actually like the undercard is like way better on paper.
Dude, this card rocks. This card's better
Yeah.
than UFC 247.
It's a good
I mean,
amount
we
of
got-
action fights.
Dude, I mean,
There's
think
not a
about it.
lot of high end tier, but there's a lot of mid tier. It's one of those cards you feel like it's the beginning of the year they just want to get like a bunch of guys fights. It's like sure, why not?
Yeah. I mean, look at this card. You got Kazula Vargas. You got Mara Romero Barella. You got Raulian Pava. You got Shayna Young. I mean, what else? Daniel Rodriguez. I mean, this thing should be a pay-per-view.
It's everybody.
Daquan
it's everybody-
Townsend.
Yeah, we saw him get beat 2 weeks ago, and he's
Yeah,
fighting again.
I feel like I
Daniel
just saw him in Raleigh.
Rodriguez.
The fights, what is it?
It's a great
The
card. I
fights
was
finally
kidding.
get good, I think, in what, 3 weeks
The
from
third
now?
fight. The third
Well,
fight.
no,
on
I'm
this card.
talking.
There's
We haven't had a good card yet this year on paper, and
dude,
the
next
first
week
good card
so
is
bad.
248 is the first good card of the year, and then after
But
that you got
248's
the
like-
Brazilian card. So
There's some fun fights next week. I'm looking at it right now.
there's
Yeah.
some.
But that card is brutal, dude. The co-main, like,
You-
the third
you have
fight
Jake
is-
Matthews versus Emil Meek. Oh, that's freaking
yeah, and that one's on the
Aguilar and
prelims.
Tukagov. That's fun.
It's not the best though. And then when's the Bear Jew fight? I think that's coming up.
Is he fighting in Brazil? Who's he fighting?
Is he not fighting? I feel like he's fighting soon. He's fighting someone that should knock him out, but there's a chance he could snatch a sub at the end.
He's fighting on the Woodley Edwards card. Oh, I forgot that
He's
fight.
fighting in
that's
London.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. He's Scottish.
Oh,
all I
he's,
know
gonna
is
get,
Mark-
he's gonna get killed in that fight, Lance.
That's what they all say. March 14th though.
This is
March
a
14th
bad
is the card.
matchup for him. He's gonna be like plus 350 at least in that fight.
Could you argue that the Brazil card is better than UFC 248?
Look at it right now.
Ooh, that's pushing it.
I'm gonna look at you.
240. So
Let me look at
248
both
has
quickly.
248 has no co-main event.
Yeah,
And
but who
then-
gives a fuck? It's got Jangalang on it.
Yeah, but I mean, there's some good
That's-
fights for sure. I think Yoel versus Adesanya is as good as it gets. But the Brazil card has Lee Oliveira, Maya Burns, Johnny Walker's in the card, Formiga, Moicano,
Elijah
Grandpa
Dushku.
Trinaldo. There's some
It's Lance.
good.
It's me
good
bidding again.
fights. Good fights.
That is a pretty solid card.
Dude, fucking Dubronx Kevin Lee is.
Is Maya versus
Fucking
Burns the
good.
highest level jiu-jitsu matchup in the history of the UFC?
It's going to be a striking match,
Credentials?
and Maya's going to get punched in the face a lot.
I know. Have you seen that line? I'm very surprised by it.
Burns is going to absolutely wreck him. Anyway, let's get this week's card.
Yeah, we got to talk about these shitty fights for the next 3 weeks before the Brazil card.
Yeah, let's not skip ahead.
All
Pretty
right.
pumped. I'm pretty pumped
So,
for
yeah, it's
Raul
the
and
first
Paiva.
match.
Who's that?
Are you? You should
No.
be.
Nah. He's 0-2. Can you really be that
Is he?
pumped about a guy that's 0-2
I didn't realize he was 0-2. I thought he had a win already.
on the Contender Series? He won, and
well,
then he's been 0-2.
facing. Well, this is a husband wife card. They're both fighting.
Who?
How cute.
Mark De La Rosa and Montana De La Rosa.
You could have made those names up, and I wouldn't argue
I
with
knew
you.
he was going to say that. All right, so Lance, you're not going to get to talk about this fight. Nushan, tell us the first fight.
Go ahead and skip the first two.
I threw a unit on Mark De La Rosa. I know he's not that good. But I thought this was a little bit high. Both these guys are not great. They both have negative striking differentials. Both of them don't really shoot that much takedowns. I think it's going to be a kickboxing match, and I give De La Rosa a bit of a shot there. So I took him. I think I got plus 190, and hopefully he can grab a decision. But I think Paiva probably wins about 55%, 60% of the time.
Okay, that's good to know. Well, I disagree with Nushan. I got De La Rosa at D+, Paiva a C. De La Rosa looks like is kind of like one of those smart fighters, but doesn't have the athleticism to really implement that strategy. Paiva, even despite his 0-2 in the UFC, like look pretty good in his fights. Hits harder than De La Rosa. I expect him to get the win. But let's move on. Macy Chiasson versus something called Shayna Young. Nushan, anything here at all?
Do not give any fucks. I had a good line on the previous fight to go to decision, and of course that got fucking canceled.
Yeah, this should be a blowout. Macy Chiasson was like a terrible loss her last time out, but I mean she's way better than this girl, and I think she beats her up and finishes her. All right, Casey
Good
Kenny and Merab Dvalishvili. I think Lance may have something to say here, but we'll start with Nushan.
I'm a big fan of Dvalishvili. He wrestles his ass off, and I think he'll be able to do that here. Casey Kenny is an undersized bantamweight. We did see him do okay and win against a guy that missed weight in Bermudez last time, but Dvalishvili is a completely different game. His wrestling is just unreal. I think he's going to get double-digit takedowns in this fight because Casey Kenny probably gets up a bunch of times, but Dvalishvili is just too damn good. His striking is decent on the feet, I think, as a result of just how good his wrestling is. So I expect him to win the fight on the feet and be able to wrestle and take down Casey Kenny a lot, and he's going to win a pretty wide decision. I really like him here. I put him in a parlay with one of the main event fighters later on for one unit, and I might add more because it looks like his line is dropping.
Lance, is they really doing a Fabricio versus Doom versus Olenek fight?
Old man.
Old
That
man
is
versus old man?
Young. Young.
That's like the
good
Legends tour.
looking. Yeah, that's tough. I actually like this fight. I think this is an interesting fight, and everyone seems to really like Dvalishvili, and I'm not a big fan. If you look at what he's done, like he got out wrestled by Frankie Saenz, so his wrestling is not, as Sean called it, incredible or amazing. One of those couple words, because
He has the
most takedowns, highest takedown average of anybody in this division's history. But sure.
I mean, Terrion Ware, I believe, is a 3-time national champ. Anyway, so this dude gets out wrestled by Frankie Saenz, gets choked out by Ricky Simon. Terry on Ware.
How did he
beat
get
him.
out wrestled? Time out. How did he get out wrestled by Frankie Saenz? Frankie Saenz went 0 for 3 on takedowns. He went 11 for 23 against him.
Lance has no idea what he's talking about.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Am I thinking of a different fight or a different wrestler where he got out wrestled?
Based on those numbers, I feel like you're thinking of a different fight because that
what fight
is
am I
insane.
thinking of?
How would I know that? You made it up.
He went. Ricky Simon took him down 2 out of 7 times. And he went
Maybe
6 for 22. Maybe that one was it.
That must be it. If you're 6 of 22 and get taken down twice, that's out wrestling. That's the fight I was thinking of then.
All right.
6 for 22.
All right. He
Ricky
still
Simon doesn't even know how to wrestle.
Okay.
He's not that good of a wrestler.
Continue, Lance.
He's really not that good of a wrestler. He hasn't had any big wins, and I don't know. There's something about this Casey Kenny kid. He seems like he knows how to win. He has a couple big wins. He's looked good. His scrambling ability is pretty good. And I like him in this fight. I think the line's big enough where it's worth taking a stab. I think this is definitely more of a coin flip fight. Last time I looked, I think it was like plus 140, plus 150, somewhere around there. So I'm probably going to take a shot at Kenny.
Okay, I got. Let me see these numbers. I got Davashvili a C+, Kenny a C. I'm with Nushan. Davashvili is, I think, average as the highest average in terms of amount of takedowns per 15 minutes of anybody in the history of the bantamweight division. He trains with Sarah Longo. Really good fight camp. Great mentality, a lot of energy. And Kenny's undersized for this weight class. He's really a flyweight who's been doing a couple fights at bantamweight now. I just think he's outsized here, but it's a big bantamweight versus a small bantamweight, really a flyweight. I think that's a huge advantage to Davashvili. I think he's going to be able to score takedowns throughout the fight, and he's going to get the W. I'd be surprised if he didn't. I think Davashvili is probably top 15 guy in this division, maybe even close to top 10. He's got a lot. He's good. So I like him here. Pretty good price, minus 160. All right, let's go to Devin Clark versus Daquan Townsend. I feel like I've seen this fight before.
That's because there's a bunch of guys at this weight class that just show up and they all kind of are shitty and they just roll them out all the fucking time.
Yeah, I guess you got a point.
I mean, Daquan Townsend, we just saw him lose 3 weeks ago. He lost to the lung ambulance. This is going to be the last straw for sure because he is fucking terrible. I don't know. This guy he looks like a fighter but is nothing like a real fighter. He's got a long reach. He looks athletic, but he doesn't throw any volume at all. He doesn't have good takedown defense. Devin Clark should be able to wrestle his way to probably a boring fight.
Lance?
So it was definitely the Simon fight that I was talking about. I just looked it up. The last 2 rounds,
wow.
he was 1 of 10 on takedowns the last 2 rounds, and Simon was 2 of 4. So maybe I just didn't watch the first round.
That could be. I mean,
1 of 10, dude? That's a joke.
Yeah, fair enough.
They should probably cut him before this fight just to be safe.
Well, might as well.
Yeah, Townsend is one of the worst fighters I've ever seen compete in the UFC. How did this guy? I mean, he seems like a nice enough dude. I think he wants to be a fun, good fighter, but he's absolutely terrible. I mean, there's just no skill here. I don't see how Devin Clark doesn't, clinch him. I think Devin Clark gets this fight to the ground. I think he beats him up. This should be a one-sided fight. I don't know if I'm going to bet it because laying minus 350, minus 400 on Devin Clark just seems like something people shouldn't do. But yeah, I get it.
Okay. I got Clark a D, Townsend a D minus. I mean, Townsend's certainly bigger, but he just hasn't shown he can put it all together. Clark a little more stocky, better grappling game, can throw strikes a bit, just a bit more well-rounded. I think just a better MMA fighter at this point in their career. So I'll take Clark, but it's not a blowout. All right. We got a fight I've been looking forward to. We got Scott Hot Sauce Holtzman taking on my fellow Jersey guy, Jimmy Miller. New Sean.
I played Jim Miller. I got him at plus 135 just for a small play. I'm liking a bit less and less as the week goes on. I've always thought Holtzman is not that good. It seems like he's been a bit better. He's getting better lately. The Lentz fight was not great for him. He did get clipped in that Ma fight, and Dong Hyun Ma is pretty terrible. So he's definitely hittable. Jim Miller, he's a tough guy, obviously. He can use his wrestling when needed to, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to out wrestle Holtzman. So this should be a pretty close fight. As I think Holtzman might gas if Miller can push the pressure, but I don't know if that will be the case. I'll pick Miller, but yeah, I'm kind of regretting my bet if I'm being honest.
All right. Lance?
Yeah, I don't like picking against Jim Miller. I love Jim Miller. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time. But this just seems one of these fights that's going to make Jim Miller look small and old. Holtzman is going to be on him the whole time. He's going to be pressing up against him. He's going to be taking him down. And despite being a wrestler, Jim Miller doesn't have the best takedown defense. So I lean Holtzman on this one. Not going to bet it, but it also wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if Holtzman gasses out. And Jim Miller is still dangerous. He's still got good chokes. He still has great submissions. He's got a pretty active guard. He has some decent sweeps. So I'm not touching this one. My lean is the Holtzman as far as the pick, but I might just watch this fight and root for Jim Miller.
Yeah, I have Jimmy Miller C, Holtzman C minus. Holtzman has some physical strength and a bit bigger than Miller. Certainly an advantage for him. I think that makes it pretty close, but I like Miller's ground game. I think Miller, after the Lyme's disease was discovered, he's really made, just real strides in his conditioning, which I think will certainly play a factor here, as Holtzman also is a guy who typically struggles to get through 3 rounds. I also like Miller's submission game should it go there. This fight is not too far off, but I think Miller, as an underdog here, may be worth a bet. It's plus 130 in some places, even plus 133 I see. I think that's a fairly good price for a guy who should be a small favorite. All right, let's go up to John Dodson taking on Nathaniel Wood. Wolf City of a fight, New Sean.
I think this is a decent step up for Nathaniel Wood. He's a decent prospect, and Dodson's kind of a decent test even at this age. Wood shoots a decent amount of takedowns, so as we know, Dodson gets up really easily from being taken down. Nobody can seem to just lay on him and control him on the ground for very long. So I kind of expect that to be the case. So we're going to see how Nathaniel Wood can deal with the speed of John Dodson. Fortunately for him, Dodson just does not throw. I don't know if it's just him slowing down and aging, but he's never been a guy that throws, and he relied when he was at flyweight on being the bigger puncher. So he would throw only a couple strikes, but when they'd land, they'd look significant. So that's how he was able to win. Up at this weight class, that's kind of a different story. So I think Nathaniel Wood is going to continue to progress, and he's going to edge out a fight that is going to primarily probably be on the feet, just because he won't be able to hold down Dodson, and he'll just win on activity. So I took him to for 1 units at minus 151.
Okay. I got all right, Lance, what are your thoughts on this? I know you're not thrilled. You're not impressed with how you think this fight's going to go down.
Yeah, I think, he had some big knockouts early in his career, but I think John Dodson is one of the most boring fighters who's ever fought in the UFC. Like, he has one finish in his last 10 fights or so. And almost every one of his fights goes to decision. It's usually boring. He doesn't throw a lot of punches, and he somehow draws guys into staring contests. It's like, no matter who Dodson's fighting, he's an exciting guy, action fighter. You get in there with Dodson, you're like, I don't know how to use my hands. What do I do? You want to stare at each other? And that's what happens. And it's so frustrating to watch because you keep thinking back to that time when Dodson first came up and he had this just massive power where he could put a bunch of guys out and he finished a lot of fights. And then he just kind of stopped doing that. His last finish was in 2016 versus Manville. That shows you
Wow.
how Burian, that was his last finish. And he's just not a fun fighter. And I think, Nathaniel Wood he's looked great. He's looked really good. He's looked really good in the ground. And I don't think Dodson is washed enough where you're gonna be able to take him down and hold him down. He has one of the best. We talked about it before the show, but he's got one of the best get-up games there is. So I think this ends up being a boring 15-minute Dodson fight where Wood gets the slight nod, and then Dodson throws his hands up and starts yelling and gets all pissed off, and then storms out of the cage.
That's all you got?
I mean, that was a perfect breakdown.
If you say so.
Sean, what do you think? Perfect?
It was decent.
We got Dodson a C+, Wood a C. Man, I mean, Dodson's problem is inactivity. I think it's clear that Dodson has a higher ceiling in general than Wood. I mean, there's a reason he fought for the title at one point in the flyweight division and has competed with really top-level guys in this bantamweight division. But it's just inactivity continues to be an issue. And when even when you're maybe a cleaner striker and laying cleaner shots, it's just that lack of activity that's gonna put you behind and potentially lose fights. I'd rather just avoid this fight. It's gonna be 15 minutes. I'd be surprised it doesn't go to a decision, and it'll be a score on the scorecards, which you won't know who's going to be awarded the fight until the judges actually until the referee announces the judges' scorecards. So this is probably a good place to take a nap. All right, let's move up to the headliner of the preliminary card. Tim Means against something called Daniel Rodriguez. Jobber City news, Sean.
Yeah, Daniel Rodriguez, he won at
Terrible.
Smash Global 9. He got a TKO there, and that's how he got his call into
Smash
the
Global?
number 9, Jay. It's the ninth one of those.
Do you remember
yeah,
Smash Global 6? That was killer.
That was
Sounds
pretty
great.
fucking sweet. Yeah, he looked okay on the Contender Series, but obviously he didn't get a contract because he won a decision instead of finishing somebody. He does have some power, so Means will have to be smart in this fight. We have seen him get clipped, like in the Nico Price fight where he had him very hurt, but I don't think this guy is Nico Price for even how much power he has. So I think Means will be able to use just his way of fighting, his varied strikes and even takedowns if he needs to, and I think he should be able to win a fairly easy decision or finish this guy.
So I'm looking at the Taglian complex where Smash Global 9 took place. It's literally a wedding hall.
Nice.
There's
Quality.
chandeliers hanging.
That is quality right there.
Oh yeah. Anyway, Lance, any thoughts here?
Yeah, I don't know anything about Daniel Rodriguez. I didn't know he existed until about 15 minutes ago. With that said, I think Tim Means is going to win this fight. Tim Means beats a lot of guys. He beats up guys he's supposed to. He usually does very easily if he's supposed to win. And guys that he's not supposed to beat, he usually loses to. He's fighting in Albuquerque. He's pumped about this fight. He looked great in his last fight. Obviously a big step up for what's-his-face from wedding hall fights. So I do like Tim Means in this one. I will have Means in a parlay with someone later in the card.
Well, I do see that it beat Justin Baseman by knockout, but so what?
He also beat a guy that was 13-27 last time.
Nice. Yeah, Quentin McCracken. All right. Woof. I'll take Means too. Longer for this weight class, way more vicious, way more experience. Means fighting in his backyard. This is a fight he's going to want and get a decisive victory in. All right, moving up to the main card. This one should be one of the best fights on the card. Yancy Medeiros taking on Lando Groovy Venata. Maybe the worst nickname in MMA. New Sean.
Fitting though.
Oh, there's some worse ones, man.
Not much worse. Oh, Beasted 25-8, yeah.
Yes, sir. We got that coming up later. Both these guys like to get punched in the head. And I don't know who does it better, but they both kind of look pretty shitty when that happens. This is a close fight. I don't see too much of an edge here. Medeiros has been out for a year, so that's a little bit concerning. We saw Venata lose to Diakisi in September. I think I give the edge to Venata as long as he doesn't gas. That seems to be kind of an issue for him for some reason. But if this is what I expect it to be, which is going to be just an all-out stupid war, I think it's going to turn into a coin flip, and whoever lands will win. So I'll pick Venata because he is the slight dog, I believe.
He's a favorite.
Oh, he flipped to the favorite. Well,
Venata's
then I'll pick Medeiros.
Wow, okay. That's very...
Yeah, it's coin flip. These guys are going to fucking just bleed. That's what's going to happen.
Lance, are you into the just bleed on this one, or is this going to be a tactical matchup of chess?
I don't think either of these guys kind of don't do that, so I don't think that's possible. And I think the difference in this fight is the chin. I think when we compared chins, I think Lando obviously has a much better chin. Yancey's been in so many wars, and Lando's been in a lot of crazy fights too, but his wars haven't ended in getting like brutally knocked out. And when you look at Yancey, he's been knocked out a bunch of times. He's been knocked out in his last two fights. And, you know, he's getting older and his cardio is not the best. Neither guy is. But I think this is going to be a war as long as it lasts. And I think when you got two guys standing in a phone booth throwing at each other, the guy with the better chin, I'll take him. So I do like Lando in this one. I will have a bet on Lando unless it changes a lot. I haven't made any bets yet. But, yeah, I like Lando a good bit in this fight.
I got Medeiros C+, Venata C-. This is, to me, as it comes down to size, I think Venata's is more a pinpointer, but he's really a small, like a very small welterweight. I mean, really, even lightweight is pushing it. He's fought at featherweight before. Medeiros is he's fought a whole different slew of weight classes, possesses way more power than Venata. And is really more active on the feet. Like Venata is kind of stylish in his striking, but he's not a volume thrower. I like Medeiros here. I mean, sure, you gotta worry about being finished, but I don't know if that's really going to come into play against a guy who doesn't have that kind of power. So I'm going to take Yancy Medeiros to get the W. What should be another competitive matchup next is Rogerio Bontorin taking on New Mexico's Ray Borg. New Sean.
So Bontorin is supposedly fasting right now and hasn't eaten since Monday to make weight. So
I didn't know
that seems like it's a
seems
like it's a great idea for him doing well in this fight and good for him not getting rocked by anything or something like that. Yeah.
4 days without eating. Good luck.
Yeah. So that's good stuff.
Yeah,
Ray Borg is another guy that just throws very, very little volume. He does go and get a decent amount of takedowns. I think that's kind of his path here. He takes down Bontorin, who's been taken down a couple times in his UFC career. I don't like Borg's activity though, because if this ends up on the feet, I think Bontorin has a decent edge. So I'm staying away, but the pick is Ray Borg because he's not fasting for 4 days to make weight.
Lance, is Borg going to be Mr. Bonbon?
Yeah, I like Borg here. He's not the easiest guy to bet on because he's cool being on his back. He's not the best at fighting off his back for long periods of time until he
And
finally
he's never
explodes and maybe
focused.
sleeps. Yeah, he just kind of always all over the place, and I think it's hard to bet on guys who are content with being on their back and playing fights like that. But I think with this said, I do like Borg in this fight. I think he's the most likely winner, especially with that weird weight cutting. I read that the other day, and I was like, "Excuse me, like you're gonna fast for 5 days before a fight? Okay." So
It's what
I
the
do
good
like
fighter.
Borg
It's
here.
what the good fighters do.
That's what all the best do. But so yeah, I do like Borg here. I don't know if I'll be betting him yet. If this line gets down to a pick 'em, I would definitely bet Borg. As of right now, I'm just not sure. But I do like him in this fight. I do think he has a pretty large advantage on the ground. But every time I think that, he ends up getting like out scrambled by Casey Kenny or whoever it is. So yeah, I'll pick Borg.
I have both these flyweights as C. Bontoran I think has been fairly successful in the UFC. Borg has really been on the downswing as a guy that a lot of people, including some of this podcast, thought could be a long-time contender at the flyweight division, but it just hasn't worked out that way. And it seems like every time Borg fights, there's always another issue, whether it's an injury, whether there's something going on outside of the cage, and he never really seems to fight to expectations. So he could certainly be ripe to an upset, but like as Nushan said, this guy Bontoran hasn't, eaten in like 3 days. That can't be good. I don't like that. So this to me is Borg or pass. All right, we got the dude Brock Weaver. Is this his UFC debut?
Yep.
Yeah.
Taking on some dude called Vargas. I think it's Kazula Vargas. I don't know who that is.
That's not a real name, Jay.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Definitely not.
He was on Wedding Hall Fight 17, I believe.
Sweet.
Ooh. The headline that one?
No, co-main.
Oh yeah, that's more like his style.
He's a 34-year-old, and his camp is called Mexican Pride. Oh my God, he's fought in the UFC before.
Yeah, he's also fought a couple UFC cast-offs too.
He knocked out Mike De La Torre.
Yep. In 18 seconds. That's the Vargas guy.
Oh, that's interesting.
Wow. And he beat Jordan Williams. He's not terrible.
Yeah. Brock Weaver is a fucking wild man, and I think because of his persona on the Contender Series, I think he's the price on him is definitely getting up there. I think he should be a favorite. He looked pretty good on the Contender Series, but there's no way I could trust him at almost a 3-1 favorite. I'll pick him to win, probably by a decision, but I'm not betting either side here.
All right, Lance, give me something different.
Part of me was thinking of betting Brock Weaver, and I still might, just for the fact of the UFC loves this kid.
They really do.
So marketable. Like, I had never heard of him, and then I watched the Contender Series, and I watched his interview, and I was like, I think this is my new favorite fighter. Like,
he's from Bama.
Dude, he just seems like he's just awesome. Like, I love this fucking guy. He's got a screw loose. His fighting style's fun. I just don't know what he is. Like, can he wrestle? Like, I have no idea. I don't know anything about this guy.
He does not wrestle. And, he has zero takedowns.
And he doesn't have much. He doesn't have any power.
Nope.
Like, he fought in this Square Ring Promotions thing or whatever for like all his fights. Comes out of nowhere. Has that, wins the Contender Series fight, gets a contract. The guy he's a complete unknown. He's just fun. So I'm not ready to bet him. That's for damn sure. But I want to because I love him. I don't think he's going to lose, but I think I'll just sit back and watch because this guy's going to be fun as long as it lasts.
Yeah, I think the UFC wants Weaver to win too. Obviously, there's certainly a good amount of hype behind him. It's a guy they certainly want to be able to push and support. I think he's set up in a fight on purpose where it'll work to his favor, and I think Weaver probably gets the knockout. But I guess we'll see. This could be a perfect fade plan scenario at some point too. I just don't see it being here. 3 fights to go. We got the other half of the De La Rosa marriage, Montana De La Rosa taking on Mara Romero Barella. That's a lot of vowels.
Should we just skip this one?
Sean.
I'm gonna pass.
Hard pass.
That's a hard pass. This is the third fight from
my
the top.
theory
Why?
on these type of
Why?
You got Tim Means. You got Tim Means, John Dodson, Nathaniel Wood, Jim Miller on the fucking undercard, and the Kenny Vachivelli fight or whatever, and you got this fucking who knows fight on the main card. I do not understand.
De La Rosa's from Texas, the other chick's from Italy. Why is this third from the top and a fight in fucking New Mexico?
Like, if you want an action fight in the main card, like, Tim fucking Means is on this card.
Are these chicks ranked? I mean, I guess they're fucking just throwing shit at the wall at strawweight to see, or at flyweight to see if one of these chicks can put a 2-fight winning streak to feed them to Shevchenko. Maybe that's what they're thinking.
I just, like, no joke, I can't recall a single moment of either of these chicks' fights. Now, that said,
De La Rosa is the number 12 ranked flyweight, and Barella is the number 13, and that's what gets you third from the top at a fucking New Mexico card.
Yep, top 15. Yep.
That's depressing.
That's nothing. Yeah.
You can move on.
Yeah. I'll make it quick. I got De La Rosa C-, Barella D+. But at the same time, I feel that if De La Rosa's husband loses, that could set the whole chain reaction where she's not going to perform either. And Barella, I think, is a much physically stronger fighter than De La Rosa, so I'm leaning towards Barella to get the upset victory in this fight. Co-main event, we got Diego Sanchez taking on Mikel Crazy Legs Pereira. I'll start with New Sean.
Crazy Legs.
It's my own.
This should be a fun fight, or it might be a boring fight, depending on how stuff goes right away. After that fight with Tristan Connolly, we're going to see if that changes Michel Pereira at all, if he doesn't throw dumb shit all the time. That's kind of who he is, so I don't want it to change him, especially with what I've bet on this fight, but that is something. He does have power, so I think very early on Diego is going to have to be careful of not getting tagged. But I think Diego can wrestle this guy fairly easily. Whether Pereira is going to give up or not, he's only been KO'd once and subbed once in 33 fights, so he obviously has fought a shit ton of cans, so that kind of helps out that ratio right there. Before the Mickey Gall fight, Diego Sanchez hadn't finished somebody since 2008. I think he's about to go on another one of those streaks. So I took Goj's decision at plus 160. I think even if Pereira somehow doesn't, if he wins, I think there's a somewhat decent chance that that Diego could survive and he could somehow win a striking battle. But my pick is Diego here. I think he's going to win a decision. I haven't added on Diego. If I can live bet this, I probably will after the first round. Or if I'm not going to be able to, I'll just bet Diego right before the fight.
I thought New Sean wrote War and Peace.
Hey, come on. Most of these fights are absolute trash. I might as well talk about one of them.
Lance, do you agree with New Sean?
I love Diego in this fight. This is the perfect fight for him. I wouldn't be shocked, honestly, if Diego got a finish just because of the gas tank issues here, where we saw Tristan Connolly, who I believe is a featherweight, taking the fight on 2 days' notice. Didn't seem like the most skilled guy, didn't seem like the best wrestler, and was able to absolutely ragdoll him. And he gassed out in like 2 minutes into this fight. And when you're fighting Diego, the one thing about Diego is he's not the sharpest dude. Everyone knows that. But weirdly enough, Diego sticks to game plans. If Diego is supposed to wrestle, Diego wrestles. And Diego's going to wrestle in this fight. He is going to instantly push him against the cage. He's going to be able to take him down. And I think he's going to wail on him. And when Diego's on top, he throws a lot of punches. And I wouldn't be surprised if Diego does get a late finish in this one where Pereira is just completely gassed out. And Pereira's just stupid. He might just run up and throw a flying knee or some stupid shit instantly and get taken down. And he gets taken down early in that first. Diego's probably going to be able to hold him down for a good bit and punch him. And that could be it right there where, the gas tank's gone. So I love Diego in this fight. I like him at plus 140. He's fighting in Albuquerque. I mean, this thing has Diego written all over it for me. So this is probably my favorite play of the night. So I will definitely take a shot at Diego here.
Okay, I got in the co-main event, just pulling up my grades. Why is it taking so long? I got
Diego's
Sanchez.
A+.
I got both guys actually a D+.
What? He's the nightmare, son.
He also gets KO'd every other fight, so this might be the time he gets KO'd. I mean Sanchez way better gas tank, way more heart. I mean Pereira is super flashy, but he can finish, and he's super dangerous, especially in that first round. I think you can play Pereira by first round. I think that's a potential betting scenario. But I think you could also live bet this after the first round, and that's where it really plays in Sanchez's hands. So I think those are two bets potentially that you could have on this fight. Sanchez after the first round live, and then Pereira to win in the first round. All right, main event time. We got light heavyweight division, 2 top 10 guys. Corey, 25, or is it Beaston
25-7, son.
25-8. 8.
25-8, that's right. He does the extra day.
He does the
extra hour and extra day.
Extra hour, extra day.
He does front day.
Yeah, he
loves made up a day.
That's what exactly. And he'll be taking on Jan Blachowicz. Oh boy. Nushan, give us something here.
I'm pretty surprised by this line.
Yeah.
These guys have fought before, and it was a one-sided beatdown. The first round was close, but Anderson edged it, and then he got 2 straight 10-8s from every judge.
And that was his 7th career fight. Corey
That's
Anderson.
Insane.
It should be minus 1,000.
In the final 2 rounds of that first fight, Blachowicz went 3 for 8 on strikes in 2 full rounds.
That's hard to do.
Meanwhile, Anderson landed 63. 63 of like 90. Blachowicz is pretty much the same guy he was there. He can be taken down. He's okay standing up, but there's nothing special. And as we've seen, Corey Anderson has gotten a decent amount better. It seems like he's shored up his striking defense to protect that chin, and his offensive striking is definitely takes a couple step ups. So, bit surprised by this line. Blachowicz is tough. I did sprinkle. I put a unit on Go's decision, but I'm gonna add some more on Anderson. I closed the parlay with Valishvili. With Anderson, I got plus 119 for a unit, and I'm thinking about laying it minus 200 straight for another unit.
Wow, look at you
yeah.
getting.
I just fucking lay it. Who cares?
All right, Lance. Last breakdown of yours for the night. Anderson, Blachowicz.
Isn't it Blachowicz?
Who cares?
Blockhead, Blachowicz. Who cares?
Corey Anderson is, and echo almost everything Sean said. Like, this line is comical to me. Corey Anderson's 7th career fight, newer in the UFC, completely dismantles him. Corey Anderson is also, they've both gotten better since then, I would say, but Corey Anderson's a completely different fighter. I mean, his last 4 fights, like, he's dominated. I mean, Patrick Cummins, yeah, whatever, but Glover Teixeira, Latifi, Johnny Walker, that is not a horrible little winning streak right there. And his hands seem to be improving. He's keeping his chin down. He's not getting touched as much as he used to. I love Corey Anderson this fight, and I think Corey Anderson's. We look at what Reyes did to John Jones and kind of stayed in his face the first couple rounds and kind of chased him around, and that's probably what Corey Anderson would do. Not that he could beat him, but I think people are kind of sleeping on Corey Anderson as a contender, and he just improved so much. He has really good cardio. He has good wrestling. His hands are improving, and I love Corey Anderson in this matchup.
I got Anderson B+, Blockhead B. Yeah, this is an important fight in this light heavyweight division. I mean, it's possible the winner of this fight ends up getting Jones in their next bout. It's hard to tell at this point, but it is definitely for positioning towards the top of this light heavyweight division. Corey Anderson's been on a pretty darn good tear of late. I mean, how many wins has he got in a row? 4 wins in a row. Cummins, Glover, Latifi, Johnny Walker, pretty good stuff. And it looks like he's getting better as time goes on. Blachowicz had been on a good run, but seems to have kind of fallen a bit back himself. Anderson's already beaten him, and he's the younger fighter. I think that really bodes well. I mean, when the younger guy beats someone and then has to fight him again, that young guy wins it's a really, really significant amount of time. So that angle certainly helps to his benefit. And then just the offensive wrestling. I mean, Anderson's certainly the better grappler and gets opponents to the ground. He can do work there. So and I think this fight sets up well for Anderson, and he's going to get the victory. That's pretty much does it, right?
Yep.
I know, not the most exciting card, but here we are.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to put a fucking decent card in Rio Rancho.
Well, all the Jacksons and the Pitt guys want to fight on this card. I get it.
How many Jackson guys are actually on this card?
A lot.
Really?
Yeah, Dodson. There's a bunch. Venata, Borg.
Oh yeah, I guess all those smaller guys.
Diego, Sanchez.
Diego's not with Jackson. They had a
but
fight.
He still lives in New Mexico.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think Casey Kenny does. Ben Clark, I think does. There's a bunch. Maybe even Towns.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, he's right, man. Who wants to live in New Mexico to begin with?
Yeah, I think what we've learned is Jackson Wink has kind of gone downhill, and maybe John Jones needs to find a new fucking fight camp to go to.
John just doesn't need to fight anymore.
I don't know. Jackson Wink has definitely gone downhill. Remember when they were the shit? Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Well, when you had the best fighter in the world by a wide margin, that helps. People are going to go there just to see that spectacle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next week we're in New Zealand.
Is Edmund fighting? Oh, that's a different card.
No, Edmund's fighting
that's actually
on 28.
It's Felder versus Hooker. That's actually that'll be a fun.
That'll
fight.
be fun main event. 5 rounds of that.
I don't like Dan Hooker.
I don't like Paul Felder.
Wow. Here we go.
What is not to like about Felder? He's a great dude.
He fights dumb.
He's American.
I mean as a human being. I just don't seem to. I just something about Dan Hooker I don't like.
As a human being? What the fuck?
He said stuff that annoys me. People annoy me. He's one of them.
Is that because he sounds foreign to you, or what the fuck?
First of all, I only like Americans. Like God bless America.
That's why
and
no
Brazilians and Brazilians.
I only like Americans and do Bronx.
Yeah. And Jacare maybe.
Jacare, he's old now. He said to me.
He used to like Johnny Walker a lot.
Me?
Yeah, I thought you did.
No. Nope.
No.
I don't believe
not
that.
me. Maybe you're thinking of
Hooker
Sean
puts
Carey.
on good fights, man. It's gonna be fun.
Baby Dick Carey?
How do we get Baby Dick on the show?
You're gonna have to go to the hills yourself, Lance. You're gonna have to go find him in the hills.
I have his phone number.
Wow.
He's been to my house. Did you know that?
How many years ago though?
Like 3.
3?
Yeah.
Wow.
When it was 3 now. Maybe even less.
Okay.
It was a UFC card in Nashville. Not the last one, but the one before that.
Hope it's okay. I haven't
Yeah,
heard.
didn't he come there like all by himself? Like he just came and met up with you? Like there wasn't really a big meetup or anything like that?
No, it was a bunch of people.
Was it?
I don't know about this. I wasn't there.
I don't know, Lance. Your mind has been losing its edge with the whole Frankie. I saw the signs shit earlier. I don't know if you.
There was people with us
Lance
watching
has
fights.
half-timers.
There was definitely people with us. Bro Hugs was there.
Bro Hugs is always there. He's lurking.
Was King Shaq there?
Sean was here like 2 nights. He even met up with like some of my work buddies and stuff one night.
I think
don't
he was
know.
just with you. I don't think there was anybody else out of the Twitter gang there, because I don't know if anybody else has met Baby Dick in real life other than you.
Was Jerry running any experiments? Was he an experiment?
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You guys weren't there when Sean
You'll have
came
to
and visited?
ask
Fucking Lance, you're losing it at your old age.
Lance. Ask your father.
Who was there?
I don't know.
I have no idea, sir. I think it was just you. You and Baby
Let me-
Dick had a
Let
romp.
me see what card it was.
Fuck.
Why don't you just ask your father? Like he'll just tell you.
How do I see like all the Nashville cards? It wasn't the Thompson versus Pettis one. It was the one before that.
Go on the Wikipedia page and just do a control.
Just type what year do you think that was? 2018? 2017?
2017. Right? Yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah, no, it wasn't Swanson Loboff.
It was.
Oh, it was.
Yes.
You guys went to Swanson Loboff
Saw
and
Loboff?
Yes.
Iaquinta Diego.
Yes, he bought a poster.
Are you sure
He was just hanging out with you, Lance. I think you guys got real fucked up that night and did some unspeakable acts to each other because nobody
first
else
of all-
was there.
First of all, it was
Jerry.
it was
Might not have been
it was
Jerry.
only hand stuff. It was hand stuff only. I think Wes was there. I'm like almost positive
Of course
Wes
he was.
was
He's
there.
the one who bought the poster.
I think it was me. From what you guys know, I think it was me, Sean, and Wes.
I'm pretty
And
sure
then
Wes
I had
has not
somebody
met
fighting
Baby
somebody.
Dick in real life. Nobody has other than you.
Sean stayed at the
He's
hotel
part of the
by
hill
the airport.
people. He's part of the hill people.
This is right after he got the thing on his face.
Oh my
I
god.
remember you tell me about the thing on his face.
I give you there's 0% chance that Wes has met Baby Dick in real life.
I'm pretty
So
sure.
who was with us?
I have no idea. It was just you and Baby Dick and whoever the fuck else you were with. But
No,
it wasn't
Wes had to be there. Wes comes to Nashville. He's coming to every Nashville event.
Ask him.
Someone
I don't
text
know.
him.
No,
I don't know
write
what
it-
to
write
tell
it-
you.
Write write it in the group chat.
I couldn't have been the only person. No, he was definitely there.
You can ask him. Was Josh Gentry there? Maybe.
I mean, yeah, probably.
He's always there too.
He's just, yeah. Jetsy's always there. No matter where we're going, like someone will
He's
like do
there.
a group
But
chat,
it
like
takes
5
3
seconds
days to
in.
get there.
There. I'm like, okay.
But he gets there. Everyone else is there on a Friday. He shows up on a Sunday.
You guys should meet us in Louisville for Corey's 30th birthday.
No.
What?
Why are you going to Louisville?
Because it's like 2.5 hours from here, and there's a giant casino there, and they have this brand new gigantic sports book. So we're all going up there.
I thought you can't bet in
in August.
Louisville. I thought Wes said you can't bet in Kentucky.
Yeah, you can. They have a sports book now. Well, no, it's not Kentucky. It's right across the border. It's in Indiana.
It's in Indiana, right?
Yeah,
There's
it's
a-
the horseshoe. It's the
Well,
horseshoe. of
fucking,
Southern
that's not
Indiana.
Louisville then.
It's like 10 minutes from Louisville.
All right, well that's why
No
I
one,
got confused.
no one wants to go down there. It's okay.
Dude,
I'm not.
I've been to that casino like a million times. That's where I first met Wes.
You met Wes at a casino?
I think
Man,
I've
you
met
have
Wes
some
at a
weird
casino, like-
experiences. You meet up with just fucking guys when it's just
I wanna say-
one-on-one and weird shit happens.
I want to say I've hung out with Wes at least on 10 different occasions.
No way.
Yeah. There was twice he came down to Nashville to go to US soccer games with me.
Yeah, that happened.
Oh yeah, that's true.
We went
There's a couple of
to
Vegas trips.
there, yeah, at least 10. We went 2 Vegas trips, 2 soccer games,
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, 2 UFC Nashville cards.
Yep, I was there.
Like I've
once.
seen and then I've met him in Louisville, like at the casino, like 2 or 3 times.
Wes has come up to New Jersey too for fights.
Yeah, I've seen Wes a bunch. I mean, Wes only lives like 2.5 hours from me.
Yeah.
And the fact still remains that nobody's met Baby Dick other than you, and
Wes
and
had
that's
to have been
that's
there.
something that I will die on the hill for because I
All
know
right,
this
has
to be
anyone
true.
has anyone texted Wes yet?
If Wes has
No.
met Sean Carey, new Sean, will you eat rat shit from Calcutta?
No, we're not going Ratchet in Calcutta, but I'm pretty sure there's no
How
chance.
about that shit from Wuhan?
That is, I would rather eat Ratchet in Calcutta.
Yeah, so would I.
That was one of the greatest things ever.
Oh my God, that's why he's not back here.
Well, the bet wasn't just like Uriah Hall wins.
What fight was
an upset.
It was Uriah Hall and
knocked him
Mousasi.
out.
That was the fight.
Yeah,
That was a spinning back kick.
I forgot what the fight was. Oh, that was great.
But the bet wasn't just a KO or anything. The bet was literally, I said Mousasi will win Uriah Hall will win by spinning kick.
And he said, "There's no fucking chance." Yeah,
And
I will
he was
eat rat shit in Calcutta if that happens.
I think Hall was like plus 800 by knockout. It was something insane. And he literally spinning back kick knocked him out.
And Mousasi had like never been finished at that point.
I wish I would have seen the Twitter. I think all Sean wrote was like, "Oh shit!" Like after.
Oh, I missed that guy.
I know. All right, well that's a good way to end the show, I think.
Yeah, solid. Some looking back in time and Lance forgetting as the Alzheimer's kick in. But
yeah, Lance is half.
What can you do?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well,
we'll be back.
We'll be
2
back.
shows in a row.
Wow. Can he make it 4 in a row?
Are you showing up for UFC New Zealand next week?
I can't do Thursday.
Oh.
Well, yeah, we don't usually do Thursday. We did Thursday this week just because of you, because we're nice guys and stuff.
And I can't do Wednesday.
So Tuesday it is.
I think I can do Tuesday.
Oh shit.
Every week there's always going to be a day or two I can't do because of clients, but yep. And
yeah,
the week
we know.
After it's going to be
That's why I
crazy
can't do Wednesday.
I know.
I might have to do a bang bang trip.
You service a lot of men. You have a lot of clients.
Trip?
We get it.
A bang bang.
A gangbang.
No, bang bang.
You
2
said
trips in
gangbang,
1
right?
week.
Who's Sean?
Well, I don't
trips
know
in
what
1
he's
week.
talking about.
Like I might have to on a Monday fly to San Jose, come back Tuesday night, and then on a Wednesday fly to Boston, and then come back Thursday night.
Yeah, so he has to bang a dude in San Jose, come back, and then bang a
How do you
dude in
think
Boston and come back. It's a bang bang week. Jay, don't
you
you know?
How do you think I close these deals?
I don't know.
Close
I
themselves.
figured you showed me your forearms. That'll be enough.
Oh, they're getting ripe, fellas. They're big.
Yay.
I think I've had enough. This show's getting a little too risque.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to change the rating on this show.
18A, baby.
Oof. Woof. Well, that does it. We'll be back. Let's see if Beeson 25-8 makes it 25-9.